Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Chambers now, just so everybody's aware.
I don't know where you got a quorum here. Better take an attendance. Hans is here. Shay is here. And that's Chris's. I guess I better have mine. Blaine's here. Andy. Chris Kerr is here. Hey.
Is he
Jesus
planting?
is here.
Must be.
And I'm here. Yeah, Andy's planting, I'm sure. Was Andy excused?
Yeah,
Not everybody,
was
Mike's excused too, right? So
Yeah.
other than that, we do have it a quorum. So Amanda, we do have it a quorum and it's 5:30, so I guess we'll call the meeting to order. With a roll call, Elaine Daly is here. Andy and Mike Didio are both excused. Trish Kerr is here. Heidi Nightingale's here. Chris Petrus is here. And obviously I'm here.
Looks like it though, doesn't it?
No, it's down.
Minutes to approve.
Move them.
I'll second. Haley?
We have all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Appointments, we have none. We'll move right into departments or commit, Ms. Fingler.
Good
You have
evening.
no updates, correct?
Why is my report not on there?
I don't know. I'm just leaving what I got. It says
Amanda.
update.
I should.
I don't-
have Yes, I did. What did she say? She said you didn't send it to me.
Oh,
I don't have a lot. We are still continuing to work with Motorola on some issues in the southern end. They actually just did all of their annual PMs and they did find a bad antenna at the LAC site. It is the transmit 2, so it's only got a few frequencies on it, but that's gonna get replaced in the coming weeks. We just finished the Sterling antenna repair. We are still working with T-Mobile on co-location at the IRA site. And we're working with Yates County. They are looking to co-locate on our Ovid site. That site is we're still reviewing that because it will kind of roadblock us if we allow them on the site. Generally, I don't like to ever tell another county. That's kind of a partnership that we have, but it will cause some issues because that tower will be about 100% full if they put equipment on it. So if we ever needed to grow or had any reason to add equipment, we wouldn't have room. So we're still looking at that. Town of Cato, we are still working through the removal of the old tower. This has been the most lingering project I think I've had. So some of the issues that we're running into is it's probably going to cause some damage to the yards. There's not much we can do. They got to bring in dump trucks. They've got to bring in a crane. That's not generally something that's under the scope of the vendor to take care of after the fact. So waiting to hear back from the attorney for the village to see if that's just something they'll take care of. It shouldn't be major.
Is it private property?
It is, yeah.
On someone's private property?
Yeah, so it's not going to be major damage, but it could tear up the yard a little bit. So we're still working through that. And with regards to the PMs that they just conducted, all the sites passed. The one issue they did cite was fire extinguishers need to be replaced, so we'll take care of that. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
sure.
Yeah, Dee, I got a question for that, sharing the Ovid tower. Is there a possibility when we write up a resolution, if we do, that we tell them if we need it, they have to take theirs down? Is there something, because as you said, we hate to turn somebody else down. I know that the
Right.
sheriff in Yates County really wants it bad.
Yeah, so generally what we're looking at right now is a structural analysis and what the expectation is that they add to the tower so that if we need to grow, we have room.
Okay,
Because generally, if they put equipment on, every site makes an impact on a system, so you wouldn't want to tell them to take equipment off. We just want to make sure that we have a little bit of room left. So they may just have to enhance the tower a little bit.
all right, thank you.
If you don't mind, just kind of keep me up to speed with that.
Yes.
Keep me in the loop with that particular.
I did. I just got that today, the information today. So Chuck I did ask if that had any, it's not paging, it's not a paging antenna.
Okay.
So from a portable perspective, maybe it's impacting it, but as soon as it's replaced, I'll let you know.
All right,
I
thank
just gotta
you.
get 3 quotes before I can get it done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just a technical question, in terms of the tower being located in Yates County, is that normal for us to have towers out of the county boundaries?
So it is actually, the tower is actually in Ovid. So it's in Seneca County.
Yeah,
So yes, because it brings coverage back into our county. Because sometimes you need that overlay. So we have a tower in Spafford as well, which is on Diamond County.
and those are the two that we.
Yes, those are the 2 that are out of county.
Oh,
The Spafford Tower is actually owned by Verizon. We co-locate on that, but the Ovid Tower is ours. Seneca County has equipment on that as well as AT&T does.
okay, thanks, Denise.
Of course.
Any other questions for the 911 director? Okay, next up on the agenda is Lloyd Hoskins. He did ask to be excused this evening. We do have his report. I guess if anybody has any questions, I would suggest that you reach out to Lloyd later in the week and he may be able to answer any questions. I didn't see anything that was too crazy. After that, Dr. Adam Duckett, is he on the computer by any chance?
Let's see.
We don't have him. Next up would be the DA, Ms. Antonacci.
Good evening, everyone. We have 3 new hires that are who are going to be starting next week. So we have our victim witness coordinator is going to start next week, and our new assistant DA. I think I mentioned him last time. He's coming to us from Broome County. So we're excited to have him. He has about 2.5 years of prosecutorial experience. And then just to update the members of the legislature, starting January of this year, our office is becoming fully electronic, fully digital. So the discovery rules, we started that in 2020, but now our assistant DAs are bringing their laptops or their computers to court. So we are no longer working on paper files. We're not opening paper files for misdemeanors, violations, traffic offenses. So we're fully digital. Everything is coming into us from law enforcement agencies. Our staff is uploading them electronically, and then our assistant DAs are bringing their computers. So that's been really efficient. Very good for us. I think it cuts down on dragging files all over the county, but also it cuts down on time. So that's been really nice. We're working on getting fully electronic at the felony level. I think it's more of a personal preference for the assistant DAs now, but I'm really pushing everyone to be fully electronic by the end of the year so that we're not carrying files anymore. It's been great. All of our intake forms, all of our court forms, we digitized. So instead of using paper copies, we're now emailing everything to the court directly. It's really great. It's a much more efficient, better process. So that's working out really well. And other than that, we had a great trial conviction last week. So we are very busy with trials and hearings and everything. And other than that, we're doing well. So thank you. I have any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions for the district attorney?
Chairman?
Do you have, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You have current vacancies?
We have one.
Just one?
Yes, we have the deputy chief position open. I
Okay.
have interviewed a couple of people, but I really want to fill it with someone with prosecution experience.
Yep.
So I have been just waiting to hopefully get that right fit.
Okay.
Elaine asked the question I was there. Go ahead.
She asked your question?
Yep.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions for the district attorney? JP1, you'll notice on resolutions was from the district attorney's office. It was pulled, so we won't have to deal with that this evening. Next up, fire and EMO, Mr. Courier. I think he was on earlier. Yes,
I am here. Can everyone hear me?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I think my submission was pretty clear, so I won't take a lot of time updating things, but a couple things I would like to highlight. First is the potential to make improvements for the Public Safety Training Center. We did do a meeting out there with the architects from Bergman. We expect hopefully we'll get some information back from them in the next couple of weeks on potential options of what we might do to meet our needs for classroom and other expansion necessities and what potential costs for that might be. So I think that was pretty successful and well attended by folks who had a lot of information about the facility. There were a lot of things people collectively didn't know as to how that was built originally, which was great information for the architects. We did host 2 weeks ago our 2022 offering from Homeland Security of the Tier 3 emergency management for local public officials. We did have a number of legislators there, and I was very appreciative of their attendance. We had some folks from some local communities, not only elected officials, but also some representatives from local fire departments, because we know that they're often a very long-term, consistent resource in their communities. And very often when there's an emergency, the local officials say, fire chief, here it is, you got it, this is what you do. So that was very well preserved, or presented rather, by state folks. I think we wound up with 17 people there, which was better than the turnout we had in December. And we'll look to try to do it again either this coming December or first thing in 2023. We get to do it once a year. The resolution I had hoped to present tonight to replace 2 deputy fire coordinators, I understand, I just came back from traveling, was pulled. I have not submitted a resolution like this, so I guess I missed some steps. So we'll get that straightened out to present it appropriately next month. And our next large project, if you remember when I first came, there were a number of projects that needed attention, hazard mitigation being the first. The next is to update volume 1 of our continuity of operations plan for the county, and then volume 2, which is at the department level, which was only partially done before. So other than that, I think everything is pretty straightforward, and I would be glad to offer any other information anyone would like.
Anyone have any questions for Dale?
Just a
Lane, go ahead.
just a clarification, you met about the training center because you're trying to work with an architect to come up with some kind of a estimate of cost or a scheme? Is that how it's going to? Okay.
Yeah, we were asked for more finite numbers from the folks working with the ARPA funding and all. The preliminary costs we had presented, well, initially probably close to a year ago, and then more recently were, I'm going to say general costs, because there's a number of alternatives. You know, you can do, and don't take this as a literal item, but a quick fix type of approach, which might be less expensive than building something more substantial, putting in other infrastructure, which takes a more strategic 20, 30-year look at this. And the only way we could come up with more concrete cost figures, investment figures actually, was to bring the architects in and explain to them what we were trying to do, and then they will work up some suggested or alternative activities we could first look at doing and what those investment prices would be.
Mr. Shea,
Dale, do we have a timeline on that?
Not that I'm aware of. They
When they
didn't
get
give
back
us
to us?
one, and they said it'd be a few weeks.
Okay, thank you.
anyone else for Dale? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next up, probation. Jay.
Good evening, everybody. I did send a report forward. Not much to add to that at this time. One change I would note is we have made an offer to fill our probation officer vacancy, and that was accepted. So we'll have a new PO starting on June 13th. We have several resolutions this evening, one of which is to fill our currently vacant account clerk typist position. The others are kind of the standard annual resolutions to reauthorize the alternatives to incarceration programs that we are required to have. So
Jay.
Want to do them now?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'll
Jay.
move number one then, or excuse me,
No, Jay.
JP two, I'm sorry, I have to abstain from 3, 4, and 5, so I'll move one and then you can bundle the other three if you want.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor for JP2 to start with, and
I'll
can I
second
get a
that.
second? Elaine seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion or hearing none, can I get all in favor, I guess?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. JP 3, 4, and 5, Dale, is it, or Jay, is it your intent to bundle them? Or do you want to go and do them?
if there are no objections or questions, I would not object to bundling them.
I do want to point out on JP3, I think there's a typo. The dates say July 1st, 2022 through June 30th. And it says on the resolution 2022, but I think that's a typo. It should be 2023. Amanda, would that be correct if you can hear me?
I'm not sure, Jay, should it be 2023 for June?
Correct, yes, that is a typo.
Resolution's got a typo in it too, so that.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that should probably be fixed.
So we can make that just a minor change, so we don't need to amend it, but just, I can fix that for Waze.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a motion for bundling JP 3, 4, and 5. Can I get a second? Heidi with a second. All in favor? Oh, I gotta have some discussion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had one little question about JP 5. This was the one that we talked to death a couple of years ago. And we started with a $87,000 contract for this particular service for the court. The reason it's up this much is because it includes the electronic monitoring or just the volume of business that they're seeing, or both?
Volume of business.
Okay, doesn't include electronic monitoring.
No, that's a separate
Oh, okay.
program. And
So
it's separate, there's a separate resolution for
So
the.
this is based now on real estimates of the number of people they're working with?
Correct. You will also notice that the period runs from January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, as opposed to the July to June timeframe of
Okay.
the others. Because we're having to catch up from when the Raise the Age programming and the bail reform programming came in. So we had to go with the January to June timeframe to get us back in line. So
It's more
next.
than a
year's-
year contract anyway.
Correct, which
so-
also explains
yes, okay.
the elevated cost.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or concerns for Jay? Heidi, go ahead.
Jay, on JP4 with pretrial diversion, the 1-year-old program, we're paying them by the hour. Do we have a sense about, is there a maximum in the contract?
There is not. There are targets that were on the report that Cayuga Counseling sent forward. The reason we went with the hourly was as opposed to the old flat rate that we used several years ago, where we could potentially overpay or pay for services that perhaps we weren't providing. This is now, so we only pay for the cases that come in and are dealt with. So, I mean, there's no cap to how many cases could come in a given year. There have not been a lot. And at this point in time, let me just make sure I'm giving you the proper one. So that's the diversion. I tell you, after all these years dealing with this stuff, I still find this somewhat confusing myself. We did 90 interviews last year with 68 successful completions. So we only pay for the interviews and then the services provided.
And these are the contracts that for a while had not really been clearly monitored.
Correct.
And you're doing that now, which is great.
Correct. And these will be reported out to the Alternatives to Incarceration Board at the end of May.
Yep.
We've calendared that next meeting.
Great.
Okay, any other discussions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Mr. Petrus.
I had nothing to do with any of this. Thank you.
Duly noted. Mr. Petrus has abstained from the
Thanks for
bundle.
translating.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carry. Thank you, Jay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I got one question. Jay, the new PO that you hired, is that a local from Cayuga County?
She is not. She's not from the region to begin with. She and her husband relocated from the state of Utah a couple years ago. She's currently a Syracuse resident. I would hope that if things work out, maybe she moves. I would note that of the 6 applicants that we interviewed, only 2 were Cayuga County residents. 2 lived in Onondaga County and 1 in Wayne. They were all very, very good candidates. The thing that swung the decision in this young lady's favor is she has prior experience as a probation officer. She served in the state of Tennessee for 4 years before relocating. It is what it is. She had really, really impeccable credentials, and right now she's working in a mental health specific caseload embedded with Onondaga County probation. Nobody else had that level of experience.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, next up on the list would be the sheriff.
Good evening. It's okay, I'm gonna sneak up here so I can spread out. So I'm like standing next to Rich when I report in case it needs some legal advice.
Yeah, right. Word attorney.
Exactly. Good evening, everyone. I submitted my report. I just have a couple of very quick updates relative to the report. In regards to the jail board-ins, we're down a little bit on our federal numbers from where we typically are this time of year, but we've started to take some local board-ins from some other neighboring jails. We have some from Portland, and we just took 2 from Oswego. So other sheriffs are struggling with staffing and trying to board out some of their inmate population. So we have taken some inmates there. We have had to turn others away just because we're struggling with staffing as well. Not to the degree that some are, but we haven't been able to take as many board-ins as we might have normally if we were up to full staff. Recruiting, we're still struggling again with the jail. We're down 9 positions. We held a number of recruiting events to prepare for our exam that's going to be offered in June. As of today, we do have 38 people registered for our exam, which compared to a lot of other, I've talked to a number of sheriffs about this, that looks good compared to what a lot of other sheriffs are dealing with. However, not too many years ago, we'd have 200 people sign up for these exams when they were offered with little recruiting. So it's a challenge. We've done a lot of recruiting to get those 38 people, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed that they're good candidates and that they do well on the exam. I do have just a quick presentation that I wanted to give. I don't know, Mr. Chair, if you want to deal with the resolutions first, because I did put some slides together on a PowerPoint to report on our police reform and reinvention collaborative where we're at, but I could do that, or
If you feel comfortable doing your resolutions at this time, we will go ahead and do them, or however you'd like it.
either way, Mr. Chair, whatever works best for you.
Don't put it all on me. Let's take care of your resolution to the PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead, JP6.
JP6 is just a routine resolution to fill a vacant custody corporal position due to a resignation.
I'll move it.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get it? Can I get a second? Trish was the second. Any discussion?
I need a different second.
Trish can't.
Oh, am I not on this?
Yes, you, aren't you?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Trish is on this committee.
Oh, Jiminy Crick. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, why am I sitting here?
Okay, any discussion? See, hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. JP7.
JP7, we're just looking to upgrade our Lexipol program. As you all recall, we contracted with Lexipol to update all of our policies and procedures with our road patrol division. Happy to report that we have completed that, all of the policy updates. We're currently working on procedures, which we hope to have rolled out here in the next few months. But this particular upgrade would allow us to start working on accreditation. It's basically software that would help us track accreditation, the process, as we make sure that we are meeting all of the standards throughout the year. It's just an electronic way to do that without having to try to do that with paper, but it'll make us much more efficient as we seek accreditation from New York State DCJS with our road patrol division.
Can I get a motion on JP7?
I'll move it.
Okay, Daily second.
Thank you. Any discussion on JP7? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. JP8.
JP8, I did submit this resolution back in January. I believe it was January that I sought to fill up to 10 assistant navigation patrol people for our boats, our patrol division this summer. I was approached by somebody that works in our security division here in the building who does still have his police certification that would like to work part-time out on the boat, who we could actually put out there as a police officer. So I'm submitting this. The other resolution in January only allowed us to hire the assistants who do not have police certification. I'm just looking to have the ability to hire this individual part-time to work navigation at $22 an hour, which is 50% refunded. But if we can utilize his services versus a full-time deputy, it'll certainly it'll be a good thing for us.
Move it, Petrus.
I have a motion. Can I get it seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded by Trish.
Because you have to have some law enforcement presence with any of these, so this won't burden your full-time staff.
Correct. So,
Okay.
so I don't put the boat out there unless there's at least one person out there with police authority.
Yeah.
It's typically one person, one deputy with police authority and an assistant who can help that individual. So this will allow us to put him out there with an assistant and not have to pay potentially overtime or the full-time rate for a deputy.
Any other discussion? Heidi?
Sheriff, do you anticipate any hiring problems with the assistants as well?
We've actually had a number of applications. We're working on the backgrounds and we have a number of great qualified assistants that are coming back this year that have been with us in the past. So I don't see any issue with that. We did raise the salary here. I think it might have been last year, maybe the year before, and we were having some issues with that, but we have been able to recruit some good people.
Any other discussion on JP? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. JP9.
And the last resolution just was submitted late today. I appreciate the ability to put this on at this point, but as I mentioned, we're struggling in the jail with recruiting. At a number of our recruiting events, we've had certified custody officers from other local jails come to talk to us about working with us. We did have one come to us last year in August. We had a couple of others that ended up moving on for different positions. But the common theme seems to be with the ones that are interested who have not actually applied for the position. They're concerned about coming in at the bottom pay scale, given the fact that they've worked for a number of years in a jail, for another local sheriff. So I think that if we are able to get your authorization to allow any potential lateral transfer to come in at the pay scale for the number of years that they've actually worked in the similar position, I think we might be able to get a few of those lateral candidates to come our way. And given that we're having such a struggle hiring staff, I'm hopeful that we can get this approved and maybe attract a few to come our way. We certainly wouldn't have to train them. They would already be trained. They would just have to, work with somebody in our building for a few weeks to learn the layout and how we operate. They wouldn't need academy training or anything along those lines. So this particular resolution does have, basically, it's not a permanent resolution. It would just stay in place until our next contract is negotiated, but something we would certainly look at again down the road when we negotiate, which will be later this year.
Move it.
I got a motion to move. Can I get a second?
I'll second. And I have a question.
Lane Daly is seconded. Go ahead for discussion.
You only have 4 steps as well?
We do.
Okay, so if you have somebody with 10 years of experience there, then potentially they'll start at the 4th step, or you'll look at someone who's been in a job for 10 years and start there? Is that how you're?
They would start at the 4th step.
Okay, so there, there's no like, oh, I have a guy with 15 years of experience, you find someone else. This only gives you the ability to start a step 4. Yeah, okay. Yes, no one, yes.
Any other discussion on JP 9? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Carried. I think we have a short presentation, correct?
Short presentation.
Oh, wait a minute. I got,
Sheriff, do you have any correction officers that are looking to retire? Are we going to lose some more people?
I think I know of 2 that have been talking about it. I don't have anybody that's guaranteed that they are this year, but with every year we lose somebody with the size of the jail division. So it would be likely that we may lose some people towards the end of the year.
All right, thank you.
any other comments or concerns for the sheriff before he starts his presentation? Go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you, Amanda, for putting it up. You can move to the first slide if you can. So this particular presentation, shouldn't take me very long, but this is just an update for all of you relative to our police reform and reinvention collaborative. I was going to try to give this presentation in March, but unfortunately I couldn't make that particular meeting because I was sick. So I wanted to make sure I did follow up and give you an update as to where we are at. This is just going to cover everything that was included in the implementation framework of the plan that we submitted back in April of 2021, as most of you recall. So the first slide, some of these I can move through pretty quickly, and there's a couple that I might spend just a few minutes on. This particular slide, the first one, and I want to make sure that I hit each area that's on the implementation framework, but one of our action items was to make sure that reports are given periodically to the Judicial and Public Safety Committee, which I have done periodically through the process. The annual community survey, we did undertake that at the end of last year into the first part of this year. We did collect 465 surveys that we took a lot of good information from. I'm happy to share that with anybody on the legislature. If anybody wants that, just send me an email or let me know, and I'll send you those survey results and public comments. Next slide. And if anybody has a question as we're going through, just wave and I'll address that. Next one deals with the body worn cameras. You all know where we're at with that. We did develop a 5-year proposal, and we did bring that forward to you in September of last year. And we were able to secure the funding. The cameras have been ordered, and we're working to try to fill the clerk position to address all of the data and the data downloads that will be coming with that. Next slide, please. The next slide, one of our implementation goals was to look to explore the expansion of the mobile crisis team. You're all very familiar with where we're at on that. We have been able to take care of that for daytime hours with working with mental health to bring on the team to address that, which I think is a great idea. I look forward to them being available for us during the daytime. And we've also recently acquired some iPads, which we're going to utilize in the extreme north and extreme south ends of the county to link us with mobile crisis to try to streamline the process. So if we have a mental health crisis situation where maybe it would take mobile crisis, the team to get there, it would take them a long time to get there. We'll try to link with them with the iPad first. Maybe it will save them having to come and us having to take the individual to the hospital, or maybe it still may result in them having to come to the scene, but at least it'll help us triage the situation and let the mobile crisis team see what exactly is going on there and actually have interaction with the individual that's in crisis. So we're going to be utilizing those. And my hope is with that the, if it improves efficiency, that, our members aren't tied up there as long as they might be otherwise waiting for mobile crisis to get there, and also that the person that we're working with gets the best care that they might need. The next slide, please. This is one I just want to spend a few minutes on. This is one of the goals that I haven't reported on yet, but I am happy to report tonight that we have been working on creating a community advisory committee, which would be made up of community stakeholders to assist us with our law enforcement efforts at the sheriff's office. We've actually started to establish a team of people throughout our community that have been working with me and the group here for a few months. We're still looking to build upon where we're at, but I did ask Amanda, and I believe she probably did, forward you our scope and purpose document relative to our community collaborative advisory committee that outlines the purpose and the scope and membership qualifications on it. So that should be in your inbox if you haven't had a chance to look at that yet. And with that, I just wanted to announce who's on the team with us so far, who's been meeting with us. And certainly myself, Corporal Ben Lader, who's a corporal with our sheriff's office, has been involved with our program so far. Robert Otterstatter, who is a business owner in the city of Auburn. Brian Bush, who's an addiction peer recovery advocate in our community. Very knowledgeable about addiction and what's going on in that arena in our community. Sherry Weiss, who is the director of the Cayuga Community Health Network here in Cayuga County. Bill Berry, who's the chair of the board of the Harriet Tubman Center for Justice and Peace. Kathy Aguilar, who she and her husband Ricardo are linked very closely with a number of large farms in our community. They seem to have the pulse of where things are at with that community here in Cayuga County. Travis Poole, who's one of our Cayuga County Emergency Management EMS coordinators. He's an Auburn fireman as well. Legislator Muldrow has been meeting with us as part of that group. And we're also, it looks like, have been talking with Legislator Basile and Pastor Josh Chiz, who's our chaplain and a local pastor here in our community, to bring him on board to partner with us on this. And we're also looking to bring another member of our road patrol division on. We did set the cap on the number of members at 13. I think that puts us at 11. But we're going to be trying to locate somebody at the extreme south end of the county to try to make sure we cover that location. And I'm not sure, who else from there, but I just would like to go over real quick that the scope of what this committee is put in place for. This isn't an oversight committee that provides oversight of the sheriff's office. This is just an advisement committee to work in partnership with us as we move forward with our law enforcement goals. But the scope with which we're going to work is to provide public feedback about our law enforcement services and practices at the sheriff's office, to advise of any public concerns regarding how we deliver our responsibilities, to advise of any public concerns that need to be addressed by our leadership or designated representatives, to recommend new programs, services, initiatives that might be needed to address community needs or concerns, to provide a conduit for the sheriff's office to address concerns that may be present, that might present issues or objectives that can be addressed and discussed by the public. Conduit that will enable the sheriff's office to provide pertinent information to the community regarding its law enforcement practices, while any communications that can serve as public education regarding reasons why our sheriff's office serves the public in a manner that it does. The committee shall endeavor to refrain from inserting partisan politics. The whole group made that very clear that we don't want this to turn into a political committee. It needs to stay politically neutral. And we basically said there may be times when we may look for other individuals that won't actually serve on the committee, but if there's a specialty area that we want to explore, speak about, we bring other people into the group to research those things and have a discussion. So that scope and purpose document is in your email, as I said, and I'd be happy to discuss this further, certainly today, but in the future too, if you want to digest that and reach out to me in the future and talk a little bit about that particular committee and and how that's going to operate, let me know. I think we've met 4 or 5 times. We've had some really good discussions already about things that are going on in our community that have been very beneficial for me. And it's been good for me to be able to bounce, concerns that I have about community interaction off of this group. So I'm very excited to implement this, and that was one of the goals that we had as part of our reinvention plan. And I see that there's going to be a great deal of benefit for me with that. And the final slide. This is an easy one. This is just basically, I've reported on this before. We did post all of our policies on our website and our complaint procedures, so that's done. So essentially, we have checked all the boxes for everything that we had set out to implement with this plan. So happy to report that we've done that. So. And
It doesn't happen all the time that you can check off the boxes and get this much done in 1 year. So
no, it doesn't. And I'll say when the governor first issued the executive order to do this, I wasn't real excited about this, but I can say for me personally, this has actually been a very good process for me. And I'm very excited about this advisement committee that we're working with. It's been very beneficial already to have some of the conversations that we've had. So I've seen a lot of benefit from this, and I think it's going to be beneficial not only to me, but to our legislature and certainly the community that we all serve. So but that's it. And I thank you for letting me report on that. That's it on that. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Trish, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. And I just want to echo what Lee said. So this is great to see a plan come to fruition in such short order. So great job. Is the police collaborative, is that now finished, and will that work carry forward with the advisory committee, or are there more parts of that collaborative initiative that still you'll be working on outside of what you've presented?
We've essentially taken care of everything that we've sought to implement. I think that it should be a living document. I really think that it's something like a comprehensive plan that we should go back periodically and look at. And I think with our discussions with our advisement committee and with the legislature, I think we are going to continue to identify things that we should be addressing when it comes to public safety in partnership with our community. So I don't think it's just something that we say, well, we checked all the boxes and we throw it on a shelf. I think it's something we need to go back to periodically. Maybe it's not going to be as formal as a process to get there, but it kind of gives us the framework to continue to move forward.
Great.
So, and I would just like to say thank you to the legislature for supporting, the initiatives that were in that plan. Certainly Legislator McNabb Coleman and Legislator Daly that were very actively involved in that process. I appreciate the partnership and support, and I think that it's resulted in a lot of benefits to public safety here.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Thank you.
Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Just a quick thank you to all the committee reporters. Appreciate all the hard work everybody's doing. Great job. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
second.
Been seconded and everybody's ready to go.
I agree. 5 minutes. Please. Try for it.
I'm in it. I'm in it.
Good job, Ryan.
Thank you. Was that enough? It wouldn't take too long. Thank you.
She's gonna start. Speed check.
Oh, good. Okay.
She kind of gives me the evil eye. I want to be sure I heard.
Okay.
I like policy cars, by the way.
I think we definitely.
I'm just a spectator.
Done.
Like I said,
But
Your mouth.
You'll participate.
my ears are.
Uh-uh.
Pretty silly out there, you know.
Pull a box. Come on.
Ladies, you guys.
Now I look really nice. 'cause now it's air conditioned. There you go.
Now before.
Ready, Hans?
Anything that.
No. You were born ready.
And I were talking about that.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order.
I'll tell you.
I believe we have just missing, Lydia. She may be here. She may join us late or may not. I don't think I can dispense with the roll call. We have quorum. So, I'll entertain a motion for the minutes to approve.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Miss Eileen McNabb Coleman, second by Mr. Shea. And any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Come on, guys. It's like I just wanted to say, before we get started, I didn't want to put too much on the plate, but don't forget, because we're addressing the redistricting this month. Don't forget, we need to discuss the form of government as we move forward. Please contact me with if you have any preferences, whether like, as I explained, like the charter commission or legislative initiative, let me know, but we will be discussing that next month in this committee. So that just doesn't get brushed back to the back of the back burner. Okay, so anybody, any questions about the form of government or how we're gonna move forward? All right, so then we'll start off with Cheryl and Katie. Nobody, I don't see either. So anybody, if you guys have questions, there's the report there. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me and I can ask them, or you can go right to them. Any questions or any discussion regarding the Board of Elections?
Chris, the only question I had was with the transfers from the other counties, I was just curious if that was on par with what they've seen historically, you know?
I can tell you when I worked there
Yeah,
many moons ago, it's fairly common,
is it?
especially, Cayuga County is like we were talking about with people that may live in Oswego, Wayne, Onondaga, because of the vertical nature of our county. I think there's a lot of, so I can tell you from my experience, it's only 2 years there that it was a fairly common, but with regard to 160 transfers, if that's been in par for the last, decade, I haven't been there.
Gotcha.
So,
I was just curious.
any other questions? All right, Amanda, you want to do Sheila's or?
Sure. Sheila has submitted her report. The only thing I have to add is I have sent out the financial disclosures and would love to get those back as soon as possible.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions for Amanda?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to thank Shireen for helping Amanda and Sheila out with these policy changes. I think the three of them are working together and I think they've come a long ways in just a few weeks. So thank all three of you.
Okay. Nothing further for Amanda. Fred, do you have anything?
No report from the county attorney's office.
Copy that. Sue Dwyer, she's not on. I know she has,
I'm here. Sorry, I snuck in.
you're in my blind spot.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
She didn't submit a report, so she gave me a few things to update legislatures on while she's vacationing in Mexico. So I know. So she recently sent out a memo to both the legislators and the department heads to give them some information and to allow them to give us some questions that they may have on the upcoming Dreams project. We're hoping to have some questions available so that we can get answers before the next department head meeting at the end of the month after the ledge meeting. They've been also over at the Owasco. We're trying to do the projects also, including the town of Owasco, if we get a grant and that has been applied for. So if they do get that, town of Owasco also needs a buy-in. They had some staff members and constituents that were interested in learning more, and Michael and Sue went over to town and gave a presentation to them. She also wanted to let you know, make sure that people were aware that the historian's office, Jessica Armstrong, our staff member over there, was in the Citizen as part of her research. She did a research project and she contributed to an article written in the newspaper and was on the front page regarding the, now I'm going to say this wrong, and it's the earliest Black settlement, the story of New Guinea. And so she was involved in that and did a lot of research. So congratulations to Jessica and Ruth for doing that. The DMV has an annual drive for organ donors. And this year, during that month of April, they were able to sign up 198 new organ donors. And so what that does is it would enhance 75 additional lives by donating, let me make sure, organs, and the tissue can help up to almost 15,000 people and families. So they did a great job in the DMV getting new people there signed up. The thing that we've been working on in our office is for the promotions and replacement of Shireen, who is now got a wonderful job upstairs, but we've lost her downstairs. So we are working on replacing that. The resolution that is being presented tonight is to promote from within for the supervisory position and the senior cashier position, which would then allow, open up a cashier position. And we're hoping that we can have approval to have all three of those positions filled up tonight at the meeting and move forward.
So that's a perfect segue.
To,
At this point, I would entertain a motion so we can.
oh, for the resolution?
Yeah.
Betcha.
Business. So entertain a motion for GO2, maybe GO2, maybe GO1, depending. It's to whatever, GO2. Someone want to make that motion? You did? Thank you. I'm done.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions on GO2? Thank you guys. This is. Okay, hearing no discussion. You guys.
Hi.
Thank you. I feel like did I miss something? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll be more energetic for the rest of them. So.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
All right, now, trying to make up for.
Not seeing me?
Yeah. Tom, are you on with IT?
Yes, I'm here.
Anything you would like to add to your report?
No, just to keep everyone updated that the IT team is very hard at work. In my update, I've included a lot of the current projects that we're working on. And, if you have any questions, specific questions on any of this, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Tom, Dave Gould, how are you?
Good.
How are you making out with the transition from the private sector to getting our county people? How are we coming?
Yep, we're coming along great. My hope is we are going to have those positions all filled in June, early June.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Swab with veterans, no updates, but did you want to add anything, sir?
Hi there. Yeah, just keeping steady work going on. We're receiving applications for the deputy director position. Only gotten 3 so far. I'm waiting for at least 1 more to start interviews. We're getting an uptick in people requesting flags and markers for Memorial Day. So people are in and out of the office quite a bit. But other than that, it's business as usual.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want everybody to know that next Wednesday, a week from today, the Wednesday morning roundtable, I think a lot of you know about that. Kevin's going to be talking, presenting at that Wednesday morning roundtable a week from today at 7:45. And it's at the church, right, Kev?
Yes, Presbyterian Church.
So just, he's going to be talking about the new veterans, the things he's changing, and he's done a great job. He's changed a lot of things in that department. So
Yeah,
congratulations, Kev.
I'm trying to use any venue I can to raise awareness and encourage veterans to submit for benefits. Sometimes they won't get them, but if they don't ask, they won't get. And as I said, since I've been there, I'm beginning month 5 now, and I've just seen a lot of veterans who have not either asked for benefits or potentially could get an upgrade to benefits. And so I'm just trying to raise awareness in as many venues as possible.
Yes, I got one more. As long as we're talking about veterans, I think some of you in the room know, but this Friday at 6:30, the 100 people are going to Washington. Do it every 5 years. It was 6 years because of COVID, but I went the last time. It's the best trip I ever had. But they're leaving the armory about 7:30. They're going to stop at City Hall here. The mayor and I are doing a proclamation, separate ones down at the armory. But if you are up that time in the morning, and we'd love to have you at City Hall and say goodbye to these people. We got 50 veterans going and 50 caretakers. And that's a 3-day trip. They'll be coming back Sunday night, and it'll be the time of their life. But I'm sure they will be pleased to see everybody. I'm going to send an email to everybody tomorrow, all the county workers, and let them know and see. Hopefully we can have a good crowd there. We've got people that are going in their 90s. It's the first time a lady from World War II is going. So it's a great time, a great send off. So try to make it if you can.
Tomorrow morning, sure.
Friday morning.
Friday.
That lady in question is my aunt, Ann Greer. She's my father's sister.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and
Congratulations.
she's very excited to go.
Marine Corps, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so
Yeah, I read the article.
Very proud of her. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very excited.
I didn't know it was related.
Yeah. she's my-
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's.
So please spread the word. I think a lot of people know about it. It's been in the paper, but as again, I'll send it out to everyone tomorrow, and hopefully we can get some county people there. And if they're 15 minutes to work, late to work, let them go for it, will you? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Any further questions for Mr. Swab?
Thanks,
All right,
Kev.
thank you, sir. Have a good night. So I'll try to stir the pot a little bit, because we had yeah, why not? Because we had a relatively benign night. Why would we let that go? So as you guys can see there's GO1 and Ledge 1. These are both addressing things that we did last month, and you can see them attached to your desk. Both on the repealing of local law number 7 with regard to the administrator, and the creation of the districts, sending them to referendum for approval by the people. I talked to Mr. Westfall, and he informed me that both are technically ledge resolutions and don't need to go through committee. However, I think it's best that everybody knows what's coming. It's on the up and up. I think we've been pretty, as I said last time, we had a very robust debate over this. So, but again, if you guys want to get down in the mud again, let's go for it. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, can I ask Fred then, should GO1 be Ledge 1 and the other one be Ledge 2 or vice versa?
They should both be Ledge
Okay.
1 and Ledge 2 or something like that. We can take care of that. I'll talk to Amanda and she'll in the morning and we'll get that taken care of.
Okay, all right, thank you, I will. Thanks, Kristen, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Go for it.
I'll address GO1, soon to be Ledge 1 or Ledge 2. As I've said to you last month here at committee, as well as the full Ledge meeting, we discussed these changes in local law in the public hearings. And now we're talking about the actual local laws. I just want to reiterate that I will not be voting in favor of GO1. We have not made strides yet in our form of government and making that change. So I do feel we are acting, I guess, premature in changing our form of government essentially and abolishing the administrator position. And I think I've been very clear. I don't disagree with this happening in the future. I just feel as though we are doing this prematurely.
Duly noted. You want in on this?
Not me.
Okay. Hans,
Not now.
anybody else?
You're asking.
I'm asking about it. Go for it. Nobody can say that I didn't debate the issue. All right, well, perfect. Hearing no more discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn then. Second. All in favor?
Hi.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure doing business with you. I had to pull it out.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Very efficient.